Welcome to Northwest Arkansas Investing Podcast, your go-to source for real estate investing in Northwest Arkansas.
Whether you're a seasoned investor just starting out, we bring you expert insights, market trends, and practical strategies to help you build wealth through real estate.
From buying and selling to property management and long-term investment planning, we cover it all so you can make smart, informed decisions in this fast-growing market. Let's dive in. All right, welcome back to Northwest Arkansas Investing Podcast. I'm here with co-host Brian Wagers and Mr. Henry Washington.
Yeah.
Henry, thanks for coming again. We had you back probably, 6 months ago or something like that on the podcast?
Probably about that long.
So if you guys want to go back and listen to his story and a little bit more about Henry.
Did you guys fall in hard times because you had to go get Brian?
Yeah, exactly.
Everything okay over
That
here?
has changed.
Well, obviously we're missing a guy, so
Is everything all right?
There's some lights flickering.
yeah, exactly. So no, we're pumped to have you back, and we've got a few cool topics that we want to talk through that I think will be really valuable to some listeners. But before we get in, just in case somebody hasn't found you online or know you, would love to just get kind of a high level view of Henry Washington, what you've done, and kind of what you're doing currently.
Yeah. So I got started in 2017 and bought a single family home just as a way to produce some extra income. I had no idea how powerful real estate was, but after I bought that first one, I was like, this was kind of fun. So I started to learn how to ramp up and ended up buying about 30 rentals in my first year, and
Crazy.
it's been all kind of crazy since then. So now we're 8 years in. We've got 100. I think I've gotten up to like 130 doors, but I've sold some. I'm down probably closer to 100 now.
Okay. Yeah.
And that's what I do, mostly buy and hold. We flip about 15, 20 houses a year.
Amazing. Yeah.
Yep.
Some 100 doors, long-term, short-term.
Yeah.
What's that look like?
Yeah, most of them long-term. We have 5 short-term rentals.
Nice. 5 short-term. I know you have some commercial, some
I've got
multifamily.
one commercial building, 11 unit like office and store.
True.
Commercial building. And then one mobile home park.
Mobile home park.
Yeah.
How many doors is that?
15.
15 doors.
Yeah.
You still own that multi-family?
Yep.
You
No, not the one in, I had one in
Van Buren?
Buren. I sold that one.
Yeah.
And I've still got the one by the university, the 8 unit by the university.
So about
That was awesome.
80 single family
Yeah.
property. Or do you manage those yourself, or you?
No, so I have third-party property management. ProX manages mine here locally.
Mm-hmm.
Plus, some of those units are in Joplin and Pittsburgh, Kansas. So I've got some there, but the majority of my portfolio is here.
Gotcha.
Yeah, 100 doors. That's a solid. And on the next episode, we'll be talking about multifamily versus single family.
Yeah.
I think you've had a unique insight, and obviously we do too. So
Yep.
that's an impressive portfolio.
Thank you.
For sure.
Absolutely. So yeah, I think something I was thinking about earlier was that, cracking the code to scaling and what that looks like, because I was reading
Let me know when you figure it out.
exactly. I was reading the book one of the guys on Bigger Pockets wrote. It's the blue one, How to Invest in Small Multifamily or whatever, this morning, and just kind of thinking about, in there he talks about, starting with, even if you started with a single family, but kind of growing and growing as you buy. And so maybe you start with a single family and then you buy a duplex the next year and then you buy a fourplex the next year. And so I think that strategy and some of the things that he talked about in there were super interesting. And so I'd love to first kind of go into, what it looked like on your first, obviously single family was your first unit, but what did it look like after that? Did you look up kind of excited and optimistic, or where were we?
Yeah, I was super pumped, man. I just wanted to go buy more. And so I just started doing that and didn't really focus on anything systems or process wise. I actually didn't think about anything like that. I was, I had one door and then I had bought another 2-family and I was house hacking that one. And then shortly after that, I bought another rental. So I had like 4 to 5 units before I realized that I needed to have some sort of system if this was going to be sustainable. So like, I don't know about y'all, but when I bought my first one, I was like, I don't care how y'all pay me rent. As long as cash, check. So I had like, some people would pay me by check, some people wouldn't, like, and I was like, as long as I was getting the rent, like I was just excited. And then after I got to about 5 units, I was like, why am I driving to all these places? And then I'm having to like keep note of who paid me what and when. And I was like, this isn't going to work. So that's when I started thinking about, okay, I need a property management system. I need a way to do all this. So that got me started thinking about process. And so I was using some free property management system at the time, but that really helped me understand, like, all right, if I'm going to do this at any sort of scale, there has to be systems and there has to be checks and balances. Because I was working a full-time job at the time, and I quickly realized that, you know, if you don't do those things, then the business will eat you alive in terms of your time.
Yeah.
Right. So
Absolutely.
that was like my way. 5 doors in was my wake-up call to realize, you probably can't wing this
Right.
and scale in any sort of at any sort of, you know, quick time frame.
Right. And were those 5 units year one, or was that?
That was year one.
Year one. So
that was in a few months.
yeah. So, I mean, for folks that are thinking about that, was that like something that you stacked some cash away to do that, or did you get kind of creative to be able to make those?
No, I was buying them. So I was using a local community bank to buy them, and they were financing pretty much 100% between.
Amazing.
They were giving me 85% of the purchase, 100% of the rehab. And then they had also given me a line of credit on one of my first properties that I was using as the down payment. So, which they told me to do. Like, they told me how to do all that. I had no idea how to do this.
The bank's saying this is okay.
The bank, they were pumped
your
about it.
money,
They were like, these are great deals. Like, just use this line of credit, keep going. So they were like wanting me to bring them the deals.
Yeah.
And so it was great. So I was doing that, and then I would either refi it, pay off the line of credit, or if it was a flip, I'd sell it, pay off the line of credit. But that's how I was financing them. And then, like I said, I got into using a property management system to manage them. Like, I was still managing the properties myself, but systematically we were using a property management system. And then I realized I needed to have a system to manage my lead flow and deals as well, because I was just using my notepad on my phone. Like, I really was winging it when I first got started.
Yeah.
But as you scale, you quickly realize, and it's like with anything, like, you know, we learned that in corporate America, just document what you do, at least on some level. And then that way, when you don't like doing something, you can put together some sort of system to not have to do the things you don't like doing anymore.
Right.
So it took you about a year to get from 0 to 5. What does a road from 5 to?
We went from 0 to 30 in that first year.
0 to 30.
0 to 30. That's right.
That you held, not that you were holding.
That I was holding.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So I think, I mean, going back real quick though to what you were saying on the bank really being a huge partner in all this, like from a guy that, like, even myself, you know, owning not much of real estate, right, and having small portfolio of investment, like, you know, just thinking about what the banks are willing to do as far as helping me kind of keep that momentum going, whether it be in a line of credit to help me maybe buy a flip, or, you know, get into another investment property or things like that. How is that? What does that partnership look like, and how has that been huge to?
Oh man, I think anybody wanting to get into the real estate space, single, multi, it doesn't matter. Like, relationship banking is huge. So those local community banks, they truly do want to partner with you. So I think that the key is, what you'll learn is that every bank has a different specialty that they like, right? Some banks only want to lend on large multifamily. You know, I've taken one of my single family deals to a bank before, and they were like, we don't want anything to do with this. And then some banks were like, they love the single family. So I happened to go to a bank that wanted those single family easy deals, because they were like, if you suck at paying your loan, we'll just take your property, and it's worth more than what you paid the loan on it, right? Yeah. So they were comfortable in it, and it was good. So they were like, you keep bringing us these, and we'll keep helping you. So they really do want to partner with you. Yeah. And the local community banks, like, they have to lend in their local community to make money. So if they can lend to someone who they believe in, who they see is going to bring them deals that are less risky, they're going to do whatever they can to try to help you grow and scale. So they really will partner with you. So if you're new and you're looking for financial help, like, finding local community banks who want to lend in the asset class that you want to invest in can really help you scale.
Yeah, that's a great point. I've talked to a lot of bankers lately that the conversation has been, hey, our buckets are full over here in retail, and our buckets are full in, you know, construction, but we're really looking to fund multifamily. Yeah. And those seem like the banks that you want to be chasing after at a time like that.
Yep.
So So 0 to 30 in 1 year, though. What did I kind of just curious too before we get into kind of what common paths are and everything like that. But were those all on market for those that don't know?
No. Well, one of them was the house hack was on the market, but the rest were all off market. So I was doing direct mail. I still do direct mail, but I was doing direct mail campaigns at the time, and finding them off market. The house hack that I lived in was what I called like a misclassified deal. So again, this was before everybody wanted a house hack, right? Like not many people knew.
What year was this?
2017.
Yeah.
2017. So like it wasn't a big, like every podcast wasn't talking about it.
Right.
And I was looking for a duplex. We had actually been like going and viewing actual duplexes on the market. And I was at the office, I was working at Walmart, and I was in the bathroom, and I overheard two guys talking about the house. And this guy was like, man, I just can't seem to sell my house. Like nobody seems to want the mother-in-law unit. They just want a single family home. And so it's just taking too long to sell. And I was like, I want that. So when he walked out of the bathroom, I was like, hey, tell me about this house. Just surprised him outside of the bathroom.
That's hilarious.
And so he told me about it, and we went and looked at it, and it was perfect. So it was a 3-2 single family with a 1-1 mother-in-law house, completely
Detached
separate, detached. Yeah. In Springdale on like half an acre. And so I was like, man, yeah, let's do it. So I put in an offer. There was some back and forth, and we had to kind of get creative with the real estate agent and the commission so that he could get what he wanted out of it, and so that I could buy it for a price point that made sense. But yeah, then I bought that one, and we moved into the big house and rented the small house. I tried to talk my wife into letting us live in the 1-bed, 1-bath and then rent the big house. She is what
at least she was up for the house.
But she was up for the house hack the other way. So we did that, and that really helped catapult us too in terms of increasing our finances, because we went from paying, I think we were paying like $1,400 a month in a mortgage. We sold that house, and then with the house hack we were paying like $150-200 a month.
So that's crazy.
It helped us to be able to save our cash.
But even, I mean, just thinking about even how quickly that you were able to get 30 units, you had to have gone all in on marketing, right? I mean, like maybe most people would dip their toe, but you probably went all in, right? I mean, what did that look like?
My first campaign, I think I sent 1,000 mailers and got like 2 deals out of it. And so I quickly increased that, and we were getting a good response. And then a few months in, I had ended up partnering with somebody who, so I am not handy. So the part about real estate that was intimidating to me was like, I'm walking into these distressed properties and I have to figure out how much it's going to cost me to renovate it so I can make an offer. No idea like I didn't know anything. Like now I know what it costs. I just can't do it.
Right.
Back then I didn't know what it cost, and I couldn't do it. So I was struggling with that part. And so I found a local guy who had that experience. And so we partnered together, we put our money together, and we started to market together. And then we would buy properties and either keep them as rentals or flip them. So we'd buy them together. And if for some reason we didn't want to buy them together, then one of us would buy it and keep it or sell it. So it really worked out because, in business, in partnerships, like 1 + 1 doesn't equal 2. Like 1 + 1 can equal 10. Like we were able to do so much more together than I could have done on my own or he could have done on his own. Yeah. So once we put our money together, it helped with the marketing. We could both take phone calls. We could both look at properties. We could both make offers, and that really helped us grow quickly. So
I love that.
So he's still a partner to this day.
Yeah, we still own. We still own a couple of those properties together. We actually ended up kind of separating our assets, and I took some on my own, and he took some on his own, and then there's a couple we kept together. So we're not buying together anymore, but we still own and operate a couple together.
Yeah. Cool.
He went more into the multifamily space, and I stayed in the single space.
Gotcha. I love that. There's just so many ways to do it. And I think understanding that background though, and kind of how you were able to build so quickly kind of takes me to these other points. And so I think oftentimes what investors are looking to, maybe it's a business plan that they're looking to do over 10, 20 years or whatever, but and it's probably changed for you a lot, but even, you know, a lot of people talk about wanting to buy a certain amount of properties and then just completely focus on debt pay down and increasing cash flow.
Yeah.
And that's a great path, obviously. And others want to continue to leverage and expand as much as they possibly can. What does that look like for you?
Yeah, I was the latter. I was like, let's just rack up these units until I don't feel like buying them anymore. And over the past, I'd say year and a half, I've learned a lot in terms of what I want. And, you know, I felt like I was growing for the sake of growing before. And I don't know, large portfolios have large portfolio problems.
Right. True.
So, you know, so I got 100 and some units. When it gets hot, I have to replace like 10 HVACs, not one, right? I've got, and so I just started to realize that, and I think people need to really truly understand like what their goals are. Like, what are you really doing this for? Like, what do you want at the end of the day? Like, what's that freedom look like for you? For me, the first phase was I wanted to get out of my 9 to 5. I wanted to get my wife out of her 9 to 5. And so we achieved that after a few years, right? Mm-hmm. And so I had 2 kids, you know, after I got started, and I'm older, right? So I say that there's I'm older now. A lot of people, because of podcasts like this and the popularity and access to information, like people are starting to do this business at a much younger age, right? This was always just an old white guy business, right? But now it's a young everybody business, right? Yeah. Everybody's like into real estate. And so like I've got young kids. I'm 40. I just turned 44. And so I'm like, I want to be able to hang out with them. And I want to be able to pass something on to them. And so having a portfolio of, you know, 300 units, I don't know that was like necessarily what I wanted to. How long was it going to take me to get there? And then when do I start paying those things off? Like, I don't want to be 70 trying to pay off these assets so that my kids can take them over. Like, I want to be able to enjoy life with them. And so I kind of shifted focus. And so I'm not buying a ton more rentals. Don't get me wrong. Send me a good rental in a great neighborhood, I'm probably going to buy it. Yeah. Right? But I'm not trying to aggressively grow my portfolio anymore. The focus has been now. So here's my plan. My plan is, now that I've got a portfolio size that I like, right? I'm looking at my assets and I'm selling the ones that I don't really love, either because of their performance or just because of where they are. Maybe they're too far away. And I'll sell those. I'll get to the manageable portfolio size, and then we're paying off assets. Like, I'm looking at paying off one of my houses like next week. That'll be my first free and clear one of the portfolio. And so I flip houses because the house flipping generates cash faster than, you know, $100 a month on a rental property, right? And so we live off the flip money. And so the plan is we'll take the flip profits, we'll live off of that, and then we'll pay off the portfolio, you know, obviously one house at a time. Mm-hmm. And at some point, I'm not going to want to flip houses anymore either. And so if I can flip houses, pay off assets, the more assets I pay off, the more cash flow it produces, the less house flips I need to do. So I can taper down on the house flips as I pay off more assets. And then at some point I'll be sitting around with 50, 60 free and clear real estate, you know, houses and or multi-families. And then I can truly do what I want. And if what I want is to go do it again, I'll go do it again. But I need to, like, if you've got debt on your properties, you don't own them. The bank owns them. Right. Like, yeah, I could say I got 100 doors, but the bank can take those if they want to. Yeah. Right. So you've got to get to a point where you're protecting what it is that you own. Right. So that's the focus now. Flip, pay off debt, reduce the flips till the debt's paid off, and then maybe I'll just do it all again. Who knows?
Yeah, I love that. It's a clear vision. How important do you think that vision is in a real estate investor? And is it okay to pivot? Because Mr. 110% leverage goes to, now I'm paying some house, you know, maybe I will own some free and clear. Maybe I don't, you know, want that peace of mind. Yeah.
Absolutely. You should pivot. Like, you don't know what you don't know when you get started. Mm-hmm. And you know, this entrepreneurship in general, but especially real estate, like, I thought I wanted one thing, and then you do a couple of deals and you learn what you like and what you don't like. I learned what I don't want to buy. You were asking me about those deals in Van Buren. I don't want to buy those.
Yeah.
Right. That deal was like, it was pretty on paper. Like, and on paper, it's like, you can't not buy this. But a lot of the things that don't show up on paper, but show up in real life management of those assets, taught me that that's not an asset I want to own it. Like, I don't want to own that type of asset anymore.
Right.
And for people that are wondering, like, that asset was probably D class. And we made it nice. But the problem was, when people, it doesn't matter if you have an A-class building or a D-class building. I'm going to ask you this: A-class building or D-class building? In an A-class building, do you have people that don't pay rent sometimes?
A-class building?
Yeah.
We have a 376 unit that has 0 debt on it, but there are some large ones that will have maybe one, someone gets behind, someone gets laid off.
And in a D-class, you're going to have people who don't pay rent sometimes, right? So it's not the class. The problem is, if you've got a D-class property and you have to evict somebody, they have less options of where they might end up going.
Right.
Right. And it was just tough for me to have to think about evicting people who have kids and may not have a place to go anymore. Like, it was just, I just didn't want to be making those decisions.
Right.
Makes sense. It was just tough for me. So that's just not an asset I want to own.
Yeah.
But I didn't know that before I owned it.
Right. Yeah.
So yeah, to answer your question, like, it's absolutely okay to pivot. Like, you have to pivot because your life may change. Your wants and needs may change. I didn't have kids before I started doing this. So my goals changed.
Right.
Like,
it seems like, kind of, even like you're saying, tapering back from 130 to 100, you now can be not only picky with what you're buying next, but also, you can kind of start to pick out the bad eggs and really focus on the best properties you have and paying those off. Sounds like that's kind of the bet.
Of that 100, I think I'm looking at selling. I think I've got an offer to sell 7 of them right now, and then I'm going to sell another 11 hopefully soon. We're talking about, right?
Really?
So
So is there anything you would have done different? Like, now you're being more picky, and you probably couldn't have been very picky in the beginning. Is there anything, looking back now on this journey from 130 to 100, is there anything you would have done differently, or do you think?
No, because I had to buy them to learn the lessons. Yeah. Like, I didn't know what I didn't know before. And that's what I'd encourage everybody to do, is, like, first and foremost, as you talk about growing and scaling, one of the most important things I think people need to do as they grow and scale is to take a look at the performance of their portfolio on a quarterly, at least every 6 months. Because what I learned is, like, just because you underwrote it to perform a certain way doesn't mean it's actually performing that way.
Right.
So 2 things that are involved in that: get a bookkeeper and an accountant as soon as possible. That's one thing that I think a lot of investors, as they get started, becomes an afterthought. You're like, oh crap, it's tax time. I should find somebody to help me with these books and do the taxes. And then you can't strategize because there's not enough time. But if you get those people and those systems on board early enough, then once you buy properties, and you underwrite them, you can truly look at the P&Ls and say, okay, these are the numbers I thought it was going to have. These are the numbers it's actually having, right? And so then you can either get better at underwriting by looking at your property performance, or you'll learn a lot about, the properties you want to buy or not buy, or why, because you can see, like, what's costing you the most money maintenance wise, or, I underwrote this to perform this way, but it's not renting like I thought. The more that you understand how your portfolio is actually performing versus what you thought it was going to do, it helps you make better decisions as you're going to grow and scale. So for me, I didn't start looking at that until probably a couple of years in, where we really were paying attention. And then we started to trim the fat and sell some of the assets that just weren't worth it. Even though I got a great deal on it, just wasn't worth it to continue to operate it.
Yeah, that makes sense. Even when you were starting, though, in underwriting deals, were you, obviously you have third-party property management now, but were you underwriting to have property management when you were managing yourself? Really?
Always, yeah. That's a fundamental thing I did from the beginning. I think that was something I learned from Brandon Turner when I first got started.
That's wise.
Like, if you don't, you're going to manage them yourself, but you need to either be paying yourself for it or budgeting to pay yourself for it, because I promise you, because I was big on the train of like,
Yeah.
I'm always going to manage my own properties. No one's going to take care of my tenants and I love people and I love taking care of people. And so I took a lot of pride in managing a certain way. And I was like, no one's going to manage like me. I'll always manage my own properties.
Mm-hmm.
And then, people's like, well, you need to budget for it because one day you are going to not want to do it or your wife is going to not want you to do it.
100%. Yeah.
So you're going to have to hire somebody. You don't lose your cash flow. So we always budgeted for it. Sure enough, I turned it all over.
I think that's wise.
It's one of the happiest days of my investing career.
I bet. I think that's wise though, because there's a lot of smaller, younger investors that I'll work with that are wanting to underwrite deals and make something work.
Yeah.
Putting 0% on the vacancy fee or the management fee.
Yeah.
Because they're like, I'm going to manage it myself, so I can make these numbers work more. And eventually, especially if you want to scale, it sounds like you need to. I mean, you got to be more conservative with your underwriting and stuff like that. So,
especially now.
What's some common underwriting things that you see? Obviously the management.
Yeah.
You almost said vacancy, so I think that's probably someone not accounting for enough vacancy.
Yeah.
What are some common underwriting misses, do you think?
Yeah. A big underwriting miss is absolutely vacancy because I don't think people really research it. Like they know they need to do it and they're like, oh, I'll count for like 5% vacancy. But if you live in Fort Smith, the vacancy is like 10%. Right? Like,
That's a good point.
You're not.
And Fort Smith isn't a bad place to invest. It's just you could better know that it's going to be 10%. That's the market.
That's the market. That's what it is there, right? Like fortunately for us here, we get the Skyline report every year and it tells you what the vacancy is in every market, but not every city has that. But ChatGPT can research it now for you. Like,
amazing.
People don't account for enough vacancy. And
are you using ChatGPT to do some of that?
To do market research?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Let's go.
Yeah.
You can do Henry Washington research on ChatGPT. I don't know if you've done that before.
Market research? I do it for market research all the time. But yeah, man. And it's vacancy plus, right? So like it's whatever your vacancy is in your area, you probably need to add a little bit because you've got like turnover happens in months, right? Mm-hmm. So like, it could take me 6 weeks to renovate a place, but that's 2 months of vacancy, not a month and a half, right? Yeah. So it's always vacancy plus a little bit.
Makes sense. I love that. I think we'll wrap it up here. Just wanted to go through though some highlights about what it looks like to scale a little bit and talk through your strategy, how it started, and then obviously talk through kind of what your plan looks like moving forward with debt pay down and using some of that cash flow to be able to do so. But yeah, Henry, thanks again. We'll hop to the next where we're going to talk a little bit about single family versus multifamily.
Yeah, so. Looking forward to next episode. Thanks, guys.
Appreciate it.
So our next sponsorship is 1440 Photography. 1440 Photography is a local company here. I love getting local companies to sponsor this podcast. They're local. They do great service, and personally, I can speak that they do a great job on mine and my clients' stuff. If you're an investor or agent in Northwest Arkansas, you need 1440 Real Estate Media in your corner. They're not just photographers. They're real estate market experts, and it's the only thing they do. MLS photos, drone, video, Matterport, whatever your listing needs, they've got it. Everything is a la carte, and it's totally customizable. And here's the best part. Just book online whenever works for you. They confirm and show up ready to go. Fast, easy, done. Where quality meets speed, book now at 1440photography.com. Our next sponsor is Advantage Title and Escrow. They're a local company. They do great work. Specifically, Kayla Phillips. I can speak personally on this sponsor because I use Kayla for all of my transactions. It's been 2, 3, 4 years now, and Kayla and I have done a ton of deals. We probably do between 65 to 80 deals a year together, and they do a great job. The SOPs, so systems and processing that they have over Advantage Title is just incredible. Clients love it. They do a great job from start to end communicating. When I give a deal to Advantage Title and Escrow, I know that it's going to be taken care of. There's no second guessing. I almost am able to treat them like a second transaction coordinator to my transaction coordinator that I already have. I know that they're going to handle the systems and processes correctly as an agent, as a homeowner, as a buyer or seller. They do an incredible job of handling a transaction and communicating throughout the process. They do a great job with communication, especially Kayla Phillips over there. I would highly encourage you, if you're looking to close on a home, buy a home, if you're an agent listening, to use Advantage Title and Escrow, specifically Kayla Phillips. So you're going to reach Kayla best at 501-358-1601, or you can email her, Kayla, Cayla, at goadvantagetitle.com. Advantage is ADVANTAGE title.com. Again, thank you guys for tuning in. I'm going to go ahead and list some sponsors off here. We're going to start with Flat Branch Mortgage, specifically Colton Kennedy. Colton and I personally do business together, and he's a wonderful lender here in the Northwest Arkansas corridor. Want to invest in real estate or purchase a home, but feel like you need a secret decoder ring to understand the process? You're not alone. First-time investors, house hackers, and future homeowners, Colton Kennedy has you covered. Colton Kennedy with Flat Branch Home Loans helps people like you break into the real estate market without the guesswork. Think of him as your mortgage strategist, helping you turn "I wish I could" into "I just did." You bring the vision, he'll bring the lending game plan. Let's make your first investment a smart one. Colton Kennedy with Flat Branch Home Loans. Contact him today by calling 417-437-0086 or emailing C as in cat, K as in Kimberly, ENNEDY at Flat Branch Home Loans. That's FBHL.com. That's 417-437-0086 or emailing CKENNEDY at FBHL.com. Thank you so much, Colton.
Special thanks to one of our sponsors who I've worked with personally on multifamily commercial loans as well as business acquisitions. People's Bank works with entrepreneurs, investors, deal makers, and risk takers. They're the ones who see opportunities where others see obstacles. Whether it's a vacant lot with a plan for a thriving business or making an old space new, they work with creators who think big and are not satisfied with the status quo. People's Bank helps you build Arkansas deal by deal and brick by brick. They don't just see numbers on a spreadsheet. They see your passion and vision. People's Bank. It's where people come first. Member FDIC. If you're needing loan assistance, reach out to Dakota at 870-883-1706 or DHEDDEN at peoplesbankar.com.
Our next sponsor is TDS IT. That's T as in Tim, D as in document, S as in solution, I as in information, T as in technology. This one hits personal. It's close to home. My dad, Tim Stanley, runs TDS IT, and he decided to sponsor our podcast. So I can speak from personal experience. I've been able to work for my dad in the past as well. And they're a great solution for business technology. If you're a local business owner or even out of state, if you're running a business, need printers, need information IT services, if you need phones, scanners, printers, all the way up to, you're printing books to, hey, we just need something in the office. TDS IT is that spot. They provide the best in-brand business technology with proven, best in local service, and they can prove it. Our next sponsor is from Whinstone Private Lending. This episode is brought to you by Whinstone Private Lending, one of the top private and hard money lenders now serving Northwest Arkansas. Whether you need short-term capital for a flip, a bridge loan, or creative financing, they've got you covered with very flexible products to fit nearly any deal, including 100% financing. What sets them apart is their deep expertise, fast response times, and ability to think outside of the box to help investors like us close quickly and efficiently. If you're looking for a real lending partner, check out Whinstone Private Lending. Link is in the show notes. If you enjoyed the show, make sure to give us a follow on your favorite podcast platform so you never miss an update.
Don't forget to connect with us on Instagram, Facebook, and LinkedIn for more real estate insights and behind-the-scenes content.
Have a question you want us to cover? Send it our way. And if you're interested in sponsoring the show, visit nwainvesting.com to get in touch. Thanks for listening, and we'll see you next time.